To me, the idea that anyone could be born into the wrong body is fundamentally insane. The problem basically is the agreed upon perception of reality. From my point of view, a man who has hormones and operations to appear more like a woman is not a real woman. He is a man who has had medical alterations to appear like a woman. A woman who takes hormones and has surgery to appear like a man is not a real man. She is a woman who has had hormones and surgery to appear more like a man. The idea that anybody should be forced to believe that sexes can just be medically changed is absurd. Telling 5-year-olds that they may be the opposite sex is just inviting problems. Trans women are in no shape or form real women. Trans men are in no shape or form real men. It is like having a drag queen insist that you believe he's a real woman. It is patently absurd prima facie. People are refusing to be forced to change our language to accommodate less than 1% of the population. Those people with breasts who menstruate and bear children are called women. Leechcraft. Here's the thing. The operation to turn a man into a woman and vice versa is medieval even for Frankenstein. In the first case, the penis is peeled with a scalpel, much like a banana. The testicles are castrated and an opening created just above the prostate. If a boy has been on puberty blockers, the penis will not have developed to be large enough to peel and invert into a pseudovagina, and one may be cobbled together out of other body parts. If the boy has gone through puberty and developed enough penis, the peeled penis is inverted and sewn back together and inserted in this new aperture. Rejection and tissue necrosis are common, as is sepsis and all other kinds of complications. The head of the penis is used to construct a neoclitoris because it's almost the same thing. The surgery to turn a woman into a man, an addictomy, is even more bizarre. After a double mastectomy, skin is taken from different parts of the body, often the forearms, and shaped into a neo-penis that looks something like a cross between a sea cucumber and Sally from The Nightmare Before Christmas. This is attached to the pelvic area, and erections are achieved by using a small pump. Before you are born, you make the most important decision of your life. You choose your sex, you choose your parents, and in doing so, you also choose the nation you will be born into. If this were not the case and birth were just random, logically, gender dysphoria would be more like 50% of the population. If you believe that birth is just random, then don't listen any further because we have nothing else to talk about. There are two things going on with transgender people. Either A, they choose to be one sex, but after birth, they regret their decision, panic, and do everything they can to be more like the sex they prefer. Or two, they wanted the experience of being transgender. Parents do not have the right to perform medical procedures on minors based on their opinion of what sex their child should be. If 5-year-old little Johnny seems attracted to other boys, it may not be because he is a girl trapped in a boy's body. Little Johnny may just grow up to be gay. If little Sally is attracted to other girls, it may not be that she is a boy trapped in a girl's body. She may be a future lesbian. Parents do not have the right to correct a child's homosexuality. This is one reason the LGBT community needs to distance itself from transgenderism. Over the hundreds and thousands of lives we live, it is necessary to live both as a male and as a female. It is unavoidable in order to evolve spiritually and completely encompass the human experience. People with gender dysphoria have plenty of ways to express their inner anima or animus without resorting to self-harm and self-mutilation. They need compassion and psychiatric help, not surgery. Here's where I take issue. I believe that surgically altering the body to appear like the opposite sex is just a bad idea. It is a denial and an evasion of the challenge and the lessons that you set for yourself when you chose to be the sex you were born as. I have no issue with transvestites or any kind of cross-dresser any more than I would with someone who adopts the ways and dress of a different nation or race. What I vehemently disagree with is parents who give hormones to children to prevent them from going through normal puberty. Children imagine themselves as all kinds of things, pirates, dragons, fairies, because a 3-year-old puts on his sister's Elsa costume is not a reason to suddenly decide that he should be transformed into a female. No parent has that right, and it is child abuse. So where is love in this? Where is compassion? It lies in not judging anyone harshly, no matter what drama they are putting themselves through, because however misguided, it is still their decision. What they need to learn is self-acceptance. Look around. So many people are just not happy with the skin they're in. It's very common. They need to understand how we are all both male and female. Being born as the sex you have trouble identifying with is something we all go through. If it's that awful, wait a few years and you get to choose again. It's not forever, just one lifetime. What it will boil down to legally is that people who were subjected as minors to puberty blockers, hormones, or sex change surgery will turn around as adults and sue their parents and doctors for sterilizing them, disfiguring them, and causing irreversible trauma to their bodies when they were too young to even consent to sex or a tattoo or piercings, too young to drink or vote. Men and women differ in muscle mass, skeletal structure, skull structure, glands, reproductive organs. Cosmetic medical measures do not magically change one sex into another. Men and women smell different, and nothing can change that. The alarming number of people trying to detransition is all the evidence I need. Look at the alarming number of post-surgery suicides. We need to explore the role social media and social contagion played in the huge spike of female to male trans, especially among autistic girls. It's going to end up being worse than the thalidomide babies. Guys are going into women's restrooms and private spaces and waving their dicks around while they claim to be women. In Loudoun County school, a trans student raped, sodomized, and committed forced oral sex on a girl while wearing a skirt in a girl's restroom. And the school tried to hush it up. All those poor kids trying to detransition. Children below the age of consent are being given hormones, puberty blockers, and irreversible surgery that will sterilize them. This is insane. It is immoral. Transgender athletes competing with real women are leaving them in the dust. This is pathetic. Transgenderism is validating a recognized diagnosed mental illness and treating it with surgery that affirms the delusion instead of psychology. What is being perceived as gender dysphoria is not a mental illness at all, but a completely natural struggle for any soul in a biological body. You know deep down that your body is not who you really are. It is constraining. You can't fly. You have to make sounds to communicate. Language is just made for misunderstandings. Subject to heat and cold, hunger and thirst, fear, it's enough to drive any soul crazy, and that's part of the show. It's none of my business that children are being sterilized and sexually mutilated, that men are going into women's restrooms, that men are competing against women in sports. I'm making it my business. I'm making it a singularly ruthless vendetta, not by the hair of my chinny chin chin. It is ethically impossible for children to consent to such life-altering procedures. It is parents with Munchausen by proxy syndrome who are fueling this madness, especially those making a profit on YouTube. They put their children up there like Barnum sideshow freaks and profit from them. Look at all the money being made off poor Jazz, who is now obese and on his 3rd genital surgery. Sex reassignment surgery, cross-sex hormones, and puberty blockers should be illegal in the United States. Parents in Canada who refuse to acknowledge their children as trans are being jailed or having their children taken from them. Let the lawsuits begin. In this world or the next, I will watch transgenderism burn to the ground. History will record this as a period of insanity when mentally ill children were the subject of horrific medical experiments. LGB are sexualities, and that pretty much covers the entire spectrum. T is not a sexuality. We don't need to keep adding an alphabet letter to LGB every time someone with a fetish craves validation. To me, the concept of being non binary is ludicrous. We are both male and female. I can completely understand embracing both male and female, but to pretend that you are neither is inscrutable to me. It's like claiming that you're not really human. I will fight transgender ideology like the abolitionists fought slavery. I think the general mistrust that men have for male to female trans people breaks down two ways. First, the vast majority of transvestites and transsexuals who are clearly men in makeup and drag. There is no mistaking them for a woman. Okay, this is obviously a person making a statement. Let's give them space to do that. Try not to laugh. Keep a neutral face, unless it's John Cleese looking for a laugh. But if you are ugly as a man, you will make a fugly woman. Second, you have transvestites, the rare ones like Blair White, for example, who are indistinguishable from real women. And undeniably, there are some beautiful ones. So you meet this gorgeous, tall girl at a bar and you really hit it off. You talk about her past and her plans for the future, and then you talk about your past and your plans for the future, and then you learn each other's zodiac sign. You both love margaritas, and you end up back at your apartment. She's a really good kisser. Her perfume smells a little strange, but that doesn't matter because she is hot. She has really nice breasts, and you explore those for a while. You can tell they're fake, but who cares? And then she does something wonderful for you, and afterwards, you're kissing again. You suddenly put your hand between her legs, and she has a hard dick. Now, the Jedi way might be to wipe your mouth, zip up your pants, and leave as fast as possible, and try never to think about that again. However, some men do not take kindly to deception. There was just such a case here in Denver, and now one of them is dead and the other one is in jail for life. Souls do not have a gender, or you could say that they have both. The concept of God and Goddess is purely a human anthropomorphization of the Creator. Some people prefer to perceive the Creator as male, others are more comfortable with female. Physical bodies have sexes, non-corporeal entities do not. Souls in the afterlife, in between incarnations, can choose to take on any appearance they desire, not even necessarily human or animate. You could appear as an owl, a mountain, a candle flame, a star. In unaltered form, souls appear very much like stars. They can change as quickly as thought from one thing to another. Socially, souls do often settle on a form that they most identify with, which may be the image of a previous incarnation or not. Think of the Matrix's residual self-image. The soul of a recently deceased person will most likely appear as it did in the just ended incarnation until it becomes reoriented. Human beings choose the gender and other major factors of a new incarnation before they enter into a womb based on many things, but most especially what they need to learn. Over thousands of lifetimes, a soul will experience being both sexes and just about every race on Earth. Given this, racism and sexism are absurd. The soul does develop opinions and impressions of all the lives experienced. Some memories will be more pleasant than others. After a while, personal preferences do arise. There is a difference between preference and prejudice. Examples: you died in the Holocaust and swear you will never be German again, or you lived as a black slave and swore you would never be white again or black again. You were raped as a woman and swore you would never be female again or male again. You develop prejudices, and strangely, the best way to overcome them is to be born exactly as the thing that repels you. For those doctors convicted of transitioning minors, I suggest 4 choices: death, life in prison, to be mutilated themselves as they have done to children, Or scalpel drone. Two doctors are locked in a sterile operating theater, each armed only with a scalpel. Two go in, one comes out. The winner goes free with only revocation of their medical license. In the aftermath of the transgender dumpster fire, certain questions will need to be addressed, namely, who knew what and when? Who were the prestigious medical experts who promulgated this? Who profited from it? Who will pay for the lifetime of medical and psychiatric care these victims will now face? Who were the educators and politicians who supported it? The revelations and damning evidence of what has been done to minors is raising a blood red wave of outrage, and it will wipe the transgender movement out completely. America will hang its head in shame over the stupidity and gullibility of our citizens. Even those who publicly supported it will be pilloried and socially crucified. Those responsible will not be able to wash the children's blood from their hands, nor escape justice both here and in the afterlife. There can never be forgiveness for what they have done. Even Christ would turn his back on them. I really should thank the transgender Illuminati, because never in my life have I known any cause to be so inspirational, nor given me the freedom to experience my own rage with such a clear conscience. Never have I been given the opportunity to stand up to such a clear and open evil.